Assalamu alaikum, dear student and viewers. Today we want to going to discuss a data analysis process step 3, central tendency and dispersion. As you know that the research process for the basic and applied research is 11 step, but we have still on working and we have only studying on the scientific research design, and after we have completing the module on scientific research design, we already discussed about a scientific research design different boxes like that, detail of studies, measurement, and nowadays we are working on a data analysis. As you know that the data analysis have only three parts of field for data, goodness of data, and hypothesis testing. Nowadays we are doing a lectures on field for data, step 3. We are working basically module 3 of the research method process. You can see here a diagrams regarding to the data analysis process, and data analysis process basically field for data, goodness of data, and hypothesis testing. Today we want to going to discuss a basically central tendencies and dispersions regarding our data. You know that the descriptive statistics we have measures basically divide in two types of measures. One measures is measures of central tendency. Central tendencies mean you have to find the data's mean and data medians and data mode for the data management. And a descriptive statistic you measure, and the other part of the measurement of dispersion. And measurement of dispersion you do for find the range and standard deviations for the range in the range data. Basically we have going to today a little bit overview of central tendency, measurement of dispersions, and mean of medians and mode of central tendency. Basically what types of the information provided by the measures of central tendency, and what type of the measures of the information provided by the dispersion. Those descriptive statistic is necessary for the researcher before getting a true result from their data. What is the central tendency? Basically central tendency, this is the method of calculating the average of set of data which you have already set after data collections. The average represent the center of the distribution of your data. These type of statistics are descriptive, which means they seeks to summarize the data. Why these descriptive statistic summarize your data? That just for only for understanding and getting a required result, desired result from your data. The three common methods we have using for finding the average are the mean of the data, the median of the data, and the mode of the data. That's all about of the central of tendency. What is the dispersion? Basically dispersions the mean summarizing the center of distribution, but its own it may not be informative enough. It is often used to show how far figures differ from the diverged measures known as a dispersion. There are many types of dispersion, low dispersion, wider dispersions, closed dispersions, and the methods of showing we here you can see here how can we measure the dispersion. So we can measure the dispersion from range, the interquartile range, and through a standard deviation. For example, in your exam you will be only have to calculate the range difference between the lowest value and the highest value in the data, in the set of data which you have already got it from the data collection method. Calculate the range. How can you range the channel depth in, for example, 45, 36, 36, 28, 24. There you have seen here the different types of data. Highest value of the data 45, the lowest is the number is 1. The range, it means the highest minus 1 is called range, is a 40 4. The advantage of dispersion, easy to calculate. It shows the separate of data, where your data is spread and how much is the spread. When you use with the mean, it shows the distribution of the values around the mean, statistically for useful. And the limitation depends on the two values, and ignore the rest. The particular problem if extreme values are typical. The range tend to increase, the sample size increases, but you know that every descriptive statistic have their own advantage, but mostly the researchers are finding the center of tendency in dispersion, summarizing and take your data in with good form before going to the final resulting. And how can we measure the center of tendency? Center of tendency means equal to sum of value, as you know that, and total number of values. So simple. The median, the middle value, when the data are arranged in order, when you have arranged your data, and the middle value of the data is called median. And the most common value is repeated in your set of data, that is called mode. For example, you have two set, A set and B set of data. The most repeated value of for example, in set A, the most repeated value is called A mode, and other set, for example B set, C set, D set, the most repeated value of the number in the set data is called a most common values, and also be called a mode. The measures of tendency we can be represented through graphically. You can see here the mean, the median, and the mode. Mode is the most repeated value. For example, the mostly your respondent which the common response from you have received from your respondent, from your audience regarding your data. Median and mean, the mean value and your median value, and the mode value. And the mode value is showing the values which have most repeated number in your set of data. Median is the central number of your data, and the mean is the arithmetic average mean of your set of data. Next, the measures of dispersion. How can we measure the dispersions? We can explain the dispersions here with the examples. For example, the example 1 we have discussed in regarding to the how can we measure the center of tendency in example 1. In example 2 we have try to understand, and I will try to explain the measures of dispersion. Find the range and mean absolute deviation of the data, 30, 35, 20, and 80 and 60. The range, the most highest value is the 85, the most lowest value is 20. Well, that is called a range, we have already discussed. The mean is, for example, that is mean is different to the center of tendency means. Here we are finding the means of the range with the context of a range. For example, 30 plus 35 plus 20, 85 and 60, and total number of values in the 46. And mean absolute deviation, the how much mean absolute deviation is highest value and minus the mean values, arithmetic mean values, and end of the end we got it a 21.2 is the mean absolute deviation in set of data. That figure is showing, that number is showing a mean absolute deviations. That is, you can understand with these examples of measures of dispersion. Measures of dispersion has many types, but here we have not time to discuss the details of the measures of dispersion. But in the future lectures we have a complete lectures on center of tendency we took, and we took a complete lecture on the measures of dispersion, inshallah. And here you can also see that the different types of dispersions. For example, dispersion A shows a or close and narrow and the close dispersion, and B is also be a wider dispersion, and C is the more dispersion, showing the more dispersion as compared to A and B. That's here is you can you have seen is a representation of the dispersions in graphically. I hope you have take a idea about a center of tendency and dispersion. Why is the center of tendency is and dispersion is necessary? It is important for the research. Take care. And stay blessed at your home. Inshallah, we continues our series of lecture, and inshallah in the next videos we have discussed step 4 regarding to the data analysis. Take care.